All right, what is going on? Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addresses nation, vows to ensure Israel's existence amid ongoing conflict. Now, some of the different videos and translations actually have a couple of different things in there, but they definitely reference the 6-day conflict, and he actually goes over it. This, again, is available over on our website. You can, of course, find this address.
I'm calling the opposition leaders to immediately form a national unity government without any, just like happened with Menachem Begin at the start of the 6-day war.
Now, when he talks about that 6-day conflict, that's when they last had this conflict, and basically is calling out for them to do the exact same thing, which is to show restraint, all of this. At the same time, they have said that this is going to be a long and drawn-out thing. So it says, in a nationally televised address, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made his first public appearance since the commencement of the ongoing conflict, asserting that Israel is engaged in a battle for its very existence. In a solemn tone, he likened the brutalities perpetrated by acts reminiscent of the notorious ISIS, and we all know what that is, right? Prime Minister, of course, began to acknowledging the current status of the operation, emphasizing that his country finds itself embroiled in a profound struggle for its homeland. He resolutely declared that this is a battle that is determined to emerge victorious from. It said this war was imposed upon us by a despicable enemy, by beasts who celebrate the dying of women, children, and the elderly. Of course, no matter how you look at this, the stuff that's hitting in the other areas, there's no guarantee that those are all of the bad guys, or if it's other people. Really, the really bad people that are hit are the innocent ones on both sides. On both sides, there's going to be innocent people that have met their end too early because of this conflict that is essentially something that's been brewing forever. So this is not good. Again, we'll go over kind of in detail more of this on tonight's show. This is Marfoogle News. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. Remember, today's full bibliography is available over on marfooglenews.com. This is going to be a shorter show. We're going to get right to the point and to the most important stories of the last 24 hours. We also did do a video just over on Marfoogle News that went over more of the stuff that is going on with Israel. So before we start, just remember you also have marfooglenews.com/friends with all of our wonderful mods. Our mods, of course, are always trying to direct people to the right place. If you have any questions about the community, all of our mods can answer your questions. They are awesome people. Make sure to go and subscribe to them. Of course, show them love. Go to their Amazons, get their books, go to their channels and subscribe. Go to their link trees And of course, check out their art. So there's lots of great mods down there. So make sure to say thank you by doing that. All right. And then if you want to, real quick, let's do a roll call. If you want to shout out general state, where you're from, or province, wherever you are in the world. Again, that brings people together. A lot of the times people find the person they've been chatting to for months is in the same state, and you find something in common right away. So if you want to do that, let's do that right now. And let's bring in my co-internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Fugle fam. I'm doing just fine. A little worried, though.
Yeah, for sure. Niall Adamson from Tacoma, local here. Belfair, Washington, near Bremerton. Stormblade. I think I did remember you were local. Gosh, bad area for Cascadia. Covington, Washington. David Keys. Nice. You are local as well. Peter Lametta. Shelley, Covington's really pretty. Lots of really pretty farms out there, and not very. You don't have much to do out there, do you? Very pretty area though. Hey from Utah. Stephen Morris from Western Kentucky. Howdy from Texas. Says PCB Repair. What's going on? Hey, thank you for being here too. I see lots of new names. Craig Kostanich. Thank you for being here. Patricia Witt. Second Omaha. I think I'm saying that right. Let's see. You're checking in from Arkansas. Always enjoy your content and analysis. Well, thank you. Again, we give our opinion, and of course try to do the best we can. Boise, Idaho is in the house. We've got a lot of folks from Texas. Mark Schaefer, what's going on? Porterville, California. We got Cali, Missouri with 2 Z's. Hey, Reds Homestead. North Alabama. See, you already found somebody else from Alabama. Harley Morris from Wellsburg, West Virginia. We've got Quantum Cat. We've got Skyhouse in the house. Ryan Alter, Clarksville, Tennessee. That is actually a place I almost went in 2012, and there was some sort of event that grounded the flight, and then we couldn't get back on. From California, George, Shanghai, Disneyland. Jesus is Lord. Really? If that's true, that's the most interesting thing ever. Are you hiding out in the top of the castle? Detroit, Jeremy of the Jungle, Rose, and Bay Area, Smokey Mo. What is happening? Pennsylvania, I can't miss Pennsylvania, and Terry from Washington. Thank you guys. All right, well, Dex, let's get into this. This second piece kind of goes over more of kind of touches back on the first. So a complete siege was ordered.
Yeah, so this is so for those who may not have caught the updates, which I can't imagine the way this news cycle is running, it's everywhere. But one of the main things out of the Netanyahu address was that they're looking for a complete siege. It doesn't even sound like they want to negotiate. They want to just move forward and blitz the strip, so to speak. And below in this picture, in the article here, there's a good visual for those of you that don't know where the area is and what it looks like. But you can sort of see the orange dots and where the original or the areas of the initial fighting were taking place outside of the strip. And then, as we were reporting on the other channel, 300,000 reservists have been deployed. You can see where that music festival was, the Nova Festival. That's where they went in, and unfortunately, 260 people were no longer around because of that. And then now what's been going on today, what we've seen a lot of is the airstrikes. So the airstrikes have been coming in. And specifically what has been said, the rhetoric has been said, is they want to basically reduce the strip to rubble. And the reason, I guess, on one hand, that's it's important to understand that that area is so densely populated. That little pink strip there is like 2 million people living stacked on top of each other.
25 miles.
Camps.
25 miles long. That's crazy.
It is not very big. Yeah. And 40% of them are children. And these are the people that were basically compressed into this area over time as the state has changed in that area. So, and that's why they're upset, because they don't want to be there. They want to have their land back. So that's the conflict. And that's way oversimplifying it. But from a visual standpoint, you got to understand that the rockets or the airships have been going in right now, just bombarding that small area, taking out as many targets as they think they have, and they're pretty extensive in what they're doing. So that's the general update. It's my understanding that is typically after the airstrikes, you then start to roll in the troops. That's what the 300,000 are probably going to be doing as they move in and move closer. And I would guess they would literally be going door to door in that area, trying to eliminate the threat, as they call it, those that are involved with the organization and those that and any equipment that they may have.
And by the way, I want to remind you guys, if you can tonight, let's not, if you support one side or the other, let's be cordial with everybody. The main thing, the innocent people that are getting caught in the crossfire on both sides. Obviously, as this plays out, I bet you if we look back in 10 years, there's going to be a whole lot more that comes out. There's going to be a whole lot of secretive things that are going on right now. Mainly, we're looking at this as not trying to pick a side or pick a sports team, because people are treating it like they're, rooting for the Jets or the Giants or something. This is not something you can just kind of read a couple articles and go, I support this side. This is extremely complex. Human lives are involved. And of course, I don't think most people I know, including myself, are educated enough to even, narrate on some of this. But as a basic opinion about what I believe it will do to us here in the United States, what it will do in the future, from the people I've talked to, from the military, active and retired that I've spoken to, especially in the last 3 days, everything has been buzzing. In the last 2 weeks, there were deployments that happened, and they were obviously told something. We had people 2 weeks ago telling their family, "Hey, have a plan, have cash ready." The same people 6 months ago, when I said, "Hey, is there going to be war?" They said, "No, that's exaggeration. All the mainstream is crazy. They think this." Now they're telling their families to get cash ready, to have supplies, and now they're the complete opposite. Maybe that's because they're being deployed, but again, they were deployed to this area, to this exact area, and that was known 2 weeks ago. So many of you in the military families, already some of you have commented, you knew this as well. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, you guys got your orders and things, and now they're public. And then all of a sudden this happened, and now there were already a bunch of Navy over there just raring to go, ready to just say, "Oh, well, we take a left turn and go right here." So maybe they had an inkling of this. Maybe their intelligence didn't see it, but maybe ours did. Or maybe somebody was writing in their little book of what they were going to do. Who knows? But at the same time, how this is going to affect the rest of the world, I believe this is something that is way bigger than most people can conceive. And I think as time plays out, we will see that. If not, will be super, super glad. But this looks exactly what we have been waiting for as far as these patterns. We thought there's going to be a big event that wrenches all of our hearts, has this blood red in the eyes, and it's going to turn everything on its head. With Russia and UKR, obviously there's another thing here that whole situation really doesn't have a good exit. If there is something nefarious going on there, this would be a good way to kind of transition, and as far as media, people's minds, everything else, and get us out of that. And then this solved, that goes away quietly because everybody wants peace. I mean, there's a billion things that could happen, but I believe that this is about to get the ball rolling on what we have believed has been coming for a very long time. Not the end of the world, the start of the new one. Dex, go ahead.
Somebody in chat had mentioned something called roof knocking, and I was not aware of it, so I looked it up real quick and I wanted to explain it. Roof knocking is a practice in the past where they would drop a device on a building that they were targeting, and it would be like a concussion or something. It was basically a warning. They also said they might try to make phone calls and warn before they took a civilian property by air. It was sort of here's your 5-minute warning, get out. And the one interesting thing, though, that I just read on the Times of Israel says that the senior source in Israel says that the will not be hamstand, which means roof knocking. The policy is no longer the norm. So they're not even doing that in this. That's how fast and quick they're acting.
So, can you say that again? Roof knocking is where they drop something on the roof, or what did they do?
It's a term that they use to give the civilian residents or the building that they're about to strike a warning before they strike it. They like either drop a very low charge, something that's not going to be very detrimental, to land on the roof and make a loud concussion or explosion. It's sort of they call it roof knocking. They also have said they've done phone calls and other things to try to let a building know that they're going to be hit, but typically
How are
it's
they
that
going to hit
device
the
they drop.
How are they going to hit the targets then? I then
Yeah,
why would they
it's their
even?
standard practice in the past to do that, and somebody had said it in chat. I just now learned about it. I read about roof knocking, and then I just read from the Times of Is that they're not doing it now
I
in
guess
this event.
if their enemy was a building, then that would make a lot of sense. But if they ever did this before, which it seems like it is a thing, then all of the bad guys would go, "Oh, the doorbell rang. We got to get out of here. Shoot, our base is gone." Like, I get because of the civilian thing, but at the same time, if you're looking at conflict, that's called collateral damage. And if they're trying to get the bad guy, historically, they just take out the bad guy and whoever's around it, uh, around them. So,
It, and that kind of explains the article we talked about over on our other channel, on the news channel, where the whole family was taken out from a strike. They had went into their house, they went into their basement to hide from the building 3 doors down because that's the one that was being targeted. But apparently, they were the ones that got hit. So there's a lot of different, I don't call it misinformation, a lot of interesting information. Stories are going to be twisted, things are going to change, and not saying one side is right and the other side is wrong. It's this is a conflict, and it is not pretty, no matter what side you're on.
no, and we're more focused on how this is going to affect the entire situation with what is already kind of a powder keg. We're in a powder keg society right now. I mean, if you look at if we were to visualize this as a Y in the road, only there's about 17 different paths, each one, ranging from Yellowstone to asteroid to AI to black hole to CERN to this to that. It's like almost all of them are glowing right now, and we don't know which way things are going to go right now. World War III, I believe, is the brightest road right now, and unfortunately, uh, it's not looking good for everybody. Go ahead.
And the other reason I'd say it's important to make sure you understand what's happening on the other side is that's where escalation happens. And it's not just escalation in the strip, it's all of those other countries around there that will have concern for their brothers, if you want to call it that, or however you want to think of it, that are in this situation. And if things are bad for them, then that makes them more likely to want to participate and support, if that makes sense. So you have to pay attention to how that works. I mean, as ugly as it is on either side, you have to see what these ramifications are on the actions taken on either side with the rest. Just like what happened to has now brought in the US, and everyone else is going to come to running to throw money and throw military gear in. So the same can happen on the other side. And that's what's the scary part, because that turns us into a much bigger, much bigger conflict, especially when it goes to Iran.
I just want to point out, and this is just something I noticed today. In fact, I believe if you look at the thumbnail right here, the picture on the left of Netin, Mr. Yahoo there, that was from a actual picture that was cut out, and it was a picture of him at his desk. I did not notice, but I looked carefully, and I realized it's actually an AI photo. And I look at photos like this, and it almost looks like green screen. I'm not saying it is, but when you look carefully at it, I don't know if it's the quality of the picture, but I've noticed that so many different photos that are being used in very, very serious articles it's anybody who creates or does videos or does things, they use stock footage just to kind of put a point there or to a placehold. Or if they're talking about a submarine, they'll put the model of submarine, but they won't put the actual submarine because we don't know where it is. They'll put like, hey, this is what it looks like to give us a visual reference. One thing I've noticed a lot with this is I feel like there's been like some AI photos being used, and I think that should be something people need to talk about, because if they do, and I'm not saying this one, but in other articles, if they use something that looks like actual footage or actual pictures of somewhere, it can be very, very confusing. What's crazy is that AI photos are now being used a lot. AI writing is being used. We found out CNET wrote 71 articles. They edited it, but they said that AI and ChatGPT had wrote 71 articles for CNET. Like that's more like, that's not like we're testing it. That's like they just fired 10 people and they were like, well, we can just do this. I mean, it's scary how much AI is already kind of impregnating itself into society. But I'm like, this something about a lot of these pictures. Now it says that Russians give us trophy weapons to discredit UKR defense intelligence. Now there's big debates right now, and there's even questions that some of the things being used by the side that attacked Israel, that those may have come from either UKR or if they came from Afghanistan, from stuff we left, right? Which is insane. If you think of the timeline of all this stuff, so the stuff that we left there, that everybody was mad about, that we left there, could be the assaulting weapons, or even worse, the stuff that we actually gave and everybody's mad about as well to UKR, if that was the stuff being used. Either way, people are going to be extremely pissed. But Dex, do you want to go over how they gave them, or how this works?
Well, this specifically is coming out of UKR's media, so they're quickly to say, hey, if any of that stuff went over to the strip, so to speak, it didn't come from us. It may have come from us, but it was indirect. In other words, it was a trophy taken from Russia when we lost in a battle here or lost in a battle there. So any of that may show up over there, don't come pointing the finger at us. We didn't sell it. That's basically what they're saying, and it's kind of it's kind of crazy to think about. And yet, I don't know that we've even got any actual evidence that this has happened. But it seems clear that everyone's digging in to understand where this stuff came from, so that they can. And I think they'll probably track some of it down at some point. Who knows? We may even find it was coming from where it was left when we pulled out of that country, not too far from that location.
And Marjorie Taylor and Green there, she actually went on many appearances already. This woman, let's see here. Yeah. So just to show you, so we all know who we're talking about. Very always in the news controversy. Somebody earlier said that is that the theater lady? I'm like, no, that's a different one. She of course has gone on appearances basically saying that they're going to check the serial numbers for these things and see if they came from here or from here. Either way, I think people are going to be mad. And I think it's interesting that they're already saying that, oh, well, I'm just saying if this does come back and it says that it's, U.S. stuff that's actually attacking our own ally, that it's because Russia did it and they took these as trophies. Every story right now is going to produce a billion theories, because people are just right now, they're very paranoid about every media out there. Nobody trusts the media at all. I would say, on a personal note, take everything with a grain of salt, especially the stuff that's coming out as it is. We know from previous events, when we looked at events, and especially events, if you've seen them with your own eyes or you watch them live and then see how the news has covered those events and then retrospectively kind of tweaked what happened, and you go, wait, no, that's not how it went. And then they go, no, fact check, that's how it is. That's how it went down. Then you know. So that's why people are stepping back right now, and especially us, we want to make sure that things are going to be changing rapidly here. So I would do your own research, but again, and by research, I'm not saying watch a YouTube video. I'm saying keep checking up on a subject if you want to know about it, because it's going to change. If they do end up coming out, now there's a reason why that our stuff is going to be involved in this. I bet you that it probably will be, and they're going to say, oh, well, that's because it was captured and then given as part of this. This ties in Russia. Even Russian state media won't back the MTG's bizarro UKR theory. So Dex, do you want to go on? Even the locos over there won't back it up.
Yeah, I mean, she's basically blaming UKR, and you would think Russia would jump on that bandwagon, but they didn't. They came out and said immediately, and they used their RT, their media outlet, to basically fact check her, is what they did. And that's, I guess, the headline here. So they're trying to say, well, she's pointing the finger at UKR. You think Russia would jump on that bandwagon, but even they're not jumping on that bandwagon. But then there's also UKR turning around just in case, saying if it's not us, then it's definitely Russia. So everybody's got a finger to point right now, which is kind of crazy.
But what I would say, though, is when they start calling stuff this, it's like that's going to do the opposite. People are going to think, yeah, then that's probably something to pay attention to. Not my suggestion, but you can do what you want and think what you want and think what you want. Before we move on, make sure to go over and check out marfooglenews.com/EMP if you want to protect yourself against an EMP or even a CME. Obviously, with things going crazy right now, it's more kind of fire to your foot. If you don't have yourself prepped, I would say go for food and water first. But after you do kind of have those staples done, then this would be something that you would look at. This device can actually protect your cars, your vehicles, your trucks, your motorcycles, your RVs, your motorhomes, your generators. If you have a gas generator, definitely this is something to look at. And it can even protect your Energy Flex 1500 if you have a solar generator. They have home versions that can be wired in, and that will actually protect everything within 250 linear feet from where it is wired in. This grounds the signal of an EMP or a Carrington-level event from the sun in less than 500 trillionths of a second before it can fry your device or your car or your home. You will get $50 off per device, so if you have multiple vehicles you want to keep running, or mom works here 50 miles away, dad works here 50 miles away, you want to be able to make sure you can get home or to be able to get out to bug out. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. This is the same company that's outfitting agencies DHS, DOD, and now they are on the Dempster team helping protect the Texas grid officially. So make sure to go check them out. It's all Keystone military tested. It can handle multiple EMPs. In fact, they tested it. I believe they stopped after 42 EMP strikes in their Keystone testing. So again, it can handle multiple, and it will just keep going. So it's a great thing to have, especially for a solar event. And we don't know if an EMP will happen, but we know a CME will happen at one point. It's just a matter if our technology and everything is hardened by that time. It's not going fast. marfooglenews.com/EMP. You'll help support us at the same time as getting a huge discount. It's a win-win for everybody. And, of course, you're protecting your family and yourself. And then U.S. raises the toll to 9 Americans that were taken out in the weekend events in Is. It says the State Department said Monday that at least 9 American citizens have perished this weekend in the events that happened in Israel, raising the toll from 4, which is kind of interesting because even the earliest estimates actually said 7 to 9. And then they changed that, and now they've changed it back. It said an undetermined number of American citizens remain missing and unaccounted for. So either they're hiding or they're just not around. It says on Sunday, an official said that the number was fluid and had ranged from 6 to 12. Again, it was not clear whether the missing had been taken hostage or taken and perished or were in hiding. So the State Department is in touch with families and providing all appropriate consular assistance. So basically saying, well, we'll update you when we find out. They say that now the event that happened left more than 1,100 perished. They're calling it their September 1/1 event. That is what their local media is saying that this event was, regardless of, how close this was to that. It is most definitely being portrayed as a T attack, and the world governments are all stepping in and speaking out about it. So, yeah. And then Chinese leader Xi strengthens statement on Israel after pressure from Schumer. Dex, do you want to go over kind of Xi actually popped in here?
Well, I think he first called for like a ceasefire, but then Schumer got to him and somehow made him change his statement. At least that's what they're claiming. Because he did come out and use one of his foreign ministers to say that we call on all relevant parties to remain calm, exercise restraint, and immediately end the hostilities to protect civilians and avoid further deterioration of the situation. So they asked, I guess Schumer is claiming that he spoke to Xi and asked him to, amp up his strength or the strength of their position against this. And now they're claiming that after Schumer did that, then that's when Xi came out. So um, I don't know, sometimes this is, them trying to jockey for position and say, look what we did, we got him to change his statement. Or if it's really just the minister of another department had a different statement to make that might have been sounded a little stronger and just made it. But Schumer's telling us, hey, I went over there and talked to Xi and he said something better. Not that words really, I mean, I guess they do matter, but this type of event is underway, and the leader there said we're leveling the place to rubble, and there's no negotiations at this moment. So all the words in from any of the leaders around the world are probably not going to change anything in the next 48 hours to a few days.
Nope. And either way, we have seen almost every major governmental leader step forward and speak on this. So as time goes on, obviously this is drawing in the entire world. I mean, it is two very, very important places in the world that are involved here. So it's not good for those of us who have been watching and waiting for some sort of event to really trigger the international community to say, we need to step up and we need to really do more. I mean, think about, we don't even know what's going to happen with the people they say they're holding. This is all things that are, very possible events. I hope this has a peaceful kind of resolution, but I mean, wouldn't you guys agree? This is not a surprise to many of us. It's people were saying that, oh, out of nowhere. I remember what's his face that when this first happened Saturday morning. Who was that? The guy on Twitter that posts a lot of stuff. The Asian gentleman that Ian Miles Chong. He posted. He's like, did out of nowhere did a war just pop off in the Middle East? It's like that sounded to me. I was like, are you kidding? There have been events that we have covered every single month, every single week. There was a back and forth between these two groups where these guys would show up at a funeral, take a few people out. These people would then get revenge and go over here and do this event. It was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it's been back and forth. What's really strange and what doesn't sit right with people is how this even happened. And the reason why they're saying it is because intelligence should have got it. I think it's more like there's a literal wall and one entrance in, and they're monitoring them 24/7 with surveillance and everything else. Something just doesn't sit right. And a lot of folks are asking, how the heck did this happen? And if you think of it in that way, or if there's even an inkling of that, then you realize, like, wait a second. So what is the overall purpose of this, and where is this going? Especially if you think, if you are of the belief that there are some who would want us to get into a WW3 scenario, then this really can't get any more clear. And then hackers send fake rocket alerts to Israeli via hacked Red Alert app. it's very scary when you have such a very, very important app hacked like this. But again, no surprise, this is actually happened several war-faring countries where they've attacked these kind of warning apps. And it says pro-Palestinian hackers from Anon Ghost apparently managed to hack the Red Alert app, whose sole purpose is to send missile and rocket alerts to the folks in Israel. It says in the midst of an ongoing conflict between the two, a group of pro-Palestinian hackers operating under a moniker Anon Ghost launched a cyber attack on the Red Alert app, causing chaos among citizens in Israel this weekend. So with an event like this, it's of course people there, they get a fake one. Hopefully when they get the real one, they will actually respond. But I don't know. And then we have Taiwan needs to work hard to control own destiny. Before we go over this, and Dex, I'm going to have you go over that. I do want to say thank you. Thank you, Gary Stoven, right out of the gate. Says, stop the world. I want to get off. Yay, finally caught alive. Thanks for the show, Marf and Dex. Thank you, Gary, and thank you for supporting. We really appreciate anybody that does support us. Again, thank you, and thank you. Along with Julie Pilkerton, thank you as well for the super sticker. And Crusader General. Again, I'm not going to say anything that it goes against either side because I'm not here to just parrot somebody else's opinion. But Crusader General, I feel for your opinion. And again, it's a very sad situation on both sides. The only side that's winning in this whole crappy mess is the military-industrial complex. Ike was right in his goodbye speech when he left office. Well, I do agree with that. It's hard to disagree with that. One thing that is doing well right now is the military-industrial complex. There's going to be money flowing out of people's ears right now. And if you look at all of the board and committee members of all of these groups, it's absolutely insane. But yeah, either way, it doesn't matter what side it is for. It's not my place to do that. But Dex, why don't we go over Taiwan needs to work hard to control own destiny, presidents to say.
Well, this is the president's on her way out. This is the end of her term soon, but this was the National Day speech, and it was given on Tuesday or today. Difference in the timeline there. She's basically telling the nation, hey, while we've done a lot to maintain the status quo, she's always had a promise to maintain the status quo by not provoking, not taking risks, not succumbing to the pressure, so to speak, of China. She's also reminding everyone that they must, control their own destiny, but they must continue to move forward and face those challenges, as she said, that's her quote, and not move backwards. And specifically highlighting a lot of the defense initiatives that have been done, including the submarines, and including that they've domestically developed submarines, and that would be a significant thing that would help them, and they need to continue doing that. She's basically in her national address, saying goodbye in some ways, but also telling the country, I can't run anymore. I've done my 2 terms, so we need as a country to move forward and keep defending ourselves. And so I think this whole notion of reunification that China wants is something that it's clear the current leadership in Taiwan is against. It sounds like the majority of the people there are against, and it sounds like she's encouraging them to maintain a strong position of defense against that. But they're going to have to do it themselves, is what she's saying. Now, we all know and we understand that there's a lot of countries that sort of seem to be aligning, ourselves included, to come to their defense should they be invaded or taken over. But the real question is, will we, and how would that actually work if it happens?
Yeah, but so it sounds like, and she says, Tsai has said only Taiwan's people can decide their future, rejecting China's offers for peaceful reunification. Sounds like she almost knows that the next people coming in are not going to be so against it, right? One other thing that could happen with China is they get a new leader and a new group of people that run that have somebody inside their pockets And all of a sudden, while we're dealing with Russia and UKR, they just say, okay, we're going to reunify peacefully. And it becomes Hong Kong, where it's just kind of absorbed. And they go in and they take out anybody of dissenting nature out of that country. You know, if let me ask you guys this. If there were two countries to help, and one was UKR and one was Taiwan, which would you, if one of them had to get US money or to get NATO money or get from European money, which country would you rather support? Taiwan or UKR? Mind you, one is not a democracy. Which one would you guys support? And I'll put it up on screen. Just a general kind of survey of like, whoa, somebody said, are we the next Hong Kong? I sure hope not. But when you look at kind of how society is moving and how we're heading towards the credit score type thing, it's and the monitoring, the surveillance, the facial recognition, everything else. And then you look at how much over the last decades, everybody, but if you can think about it, I have met some really, really awesome Taiwanese people in the last month, and they said 100%, like you still have a right to do stuff if they feel that they said that their families feel if China ends up reunifying, they lose everything. They say you have to understand what the rules end up changing to. They're not going to just let them run like they are currently running and just be, kind of underneath China. All the things are going to change. People won't be able to speak out against China. People won't be able to speak their mind. Everything starts getting absorbed. They are sweet people. They want to be free, says Jackie Flowers. Yeah. Firmus, paradox, I hope not. But preppers prep for any scenario. And I think that's the right thing to do. And if the worst case scenario happens, you're better off than everybody. If it doesn't happen, you are still good for even smaller disasters. Dex, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, there is the main opposition party to the party that the current president in Taiwan is, and that's called the Kuomintang, probably pronouncing that wrong. But they spoke out against her, obviously, because they're the opposition. And they're saying that because of the position she takes, that they're bringing the country of Taiwan on the brink of conflict, obviously, with China. But the flip side to that is that the front runner for that president position, according to polls or whatever, is her vice president, which is on the other party, not the opposition party. So William Lai, I believe we've talked about him before, is who everyone's expecting to win, but we'll have to see.
Same
right?
guy.
Take time.
Okay. Do you remember when I talked about him and I said, from what I have heard, and this was coming from somebody I trust, that there's thoughts and that that the person is not fully anti-China, that they say it publicly, but they think that person, if they get in charge, it's immediately going to switch back. And now, fast forward, look at what's being said. She's basically telling them, like, it's going to be up to you guys if you don't want to be a part of China. But her VP is most likely going to be the person who takes over. So I think that's a little odd, right? Especially from what I heard before. It's like, it sounds like she knows that there's going to be a struggle to even have this continue to push back against it. China is incredibly powerful. They aren't America yet, but they're number 2. There's no other country more powerful than China other than the USA. So when you have that much money to throw around, you can bribe everybody in an entire government like Taiwan. They could set up every member of that government into being rich for the rest of their life. And it's worth it for them. They could spend billions and billions of dollars and take care of every single person, and it's not going to hurt them. They say that they're all broke right now. Maybe their bribes are finally showing up. Who knows? But we don't know what's going to actually happen here. But it's pretty clear everybody would rather their tax dollars, if we were to help a country, it would be helping what is a mostly democratic system. Because I guess, a lot of us want to fight for general rights and for all people of the world, but not for a place that even the most disgusting people say is corrupt. I mean, Mr. Gates said that they think UKR is corrupt. That's crazy. All right, before we move on, go check out Energy if you haven't checked them out. This is a solar generator. It's silent. Nobody's going to know you have it. You can go gray. Again, this is a silent solar generator that can get its power from solar panels. Again, I'd highly recommend their folding panels. What's really cool about it, though, is it is a stacking system. So just like Legos, these connect and lock together. So you can take one battery, 3 batteries, or you can expand it up to 96 batteries. You can make an entire wall of them and make it whatever system you want to make it. You can also add mods. There are mod bricks that actually change the overall performance. Really, all they do is they add different features. So say if you want a UPS rapid charger that can charge each battery in about 40 minutes, you can plug that in, and it also doubles as a UPS, an uninterrupted power supply, meaning you can plug your fridge into this into the wall, and it will sit there without degrading the battery. And of course, when your power goes out, it will immediately switch over. So just like a backup generator, if you've ever been in a grocery store, when the power goes out and then it turns back on, that gives it that ability. So, and there's other mods like the supercharger that allows you to plug in 3 times the amount of panels. So if you have 4 panels, you can do the supercharger and it will allow you to plug in 12. This is a very cool system. Again, I use it for regular stuff. I've used it for my tools, bringing it places. If I'm doing side jobs or I put in a fence, I was able to bring my saws and power them off of it. So it's a really, really, really awesome thing, especially if you are in construction, to have power wherever you need it. If you think about it, all the places you've needed an extension cord, or if you don't have on your job site, you don't have a place to plug in, bring the power with you. Marfooglenews.com/energy, INERGY, and make sure to use the code Marfoogle. You also don't have to deal with gas stations in an SHTF situation. You don't have to deal with people knowing 3 blocks away you have power, and you don't have to store flammable gas. All right, and let's see here. China urges Philippines to end provocation in South China Sea. Dex, do you want to go over what happened here?
So it's like they're on repeat. They just keep saying the same thing, but they did come out again on Monday, and they are now urging against any further provocations from the Philippines. And this is China putting out this message. They're saying it. They're saying, stop what you're doing at the atoll. Stop provoking us. It's our territory. They've done this before. They go back and forth. They've shot the water cannons. They've laid the ropes out with the floating buoys on them that they then went underwater and cut. They've put the blockade of ships in. They've almost rammed the ships together to try to prevent this. And they're basically putting out a stern message to tell them to stop the provocations so that this comes to an end, because it's China's territory. But I don't know that really means much to the Philippines, because they're like, this is our atoll. It's not yours. Move on. And they're going to keep doing what they're going to do. So, this is just continuing to show a potential sign of escalation. At some point, words go beyond. You get beyond, water cannons, and maybe you move to real cannons, and that's when things get heated very quickly. So we'll have to continue to watch this. It's easy for things like this to happen when everyone's distracted with what's going on all the way on the other side of the world, in the Middle East.
And I'm showing you this. A lot of people I had the wrong idea about what it looked like too. I was thinking of a fishing boat sitting on a beach somewhere, half kilted, but this is the ship. It's been grounded since 1999. I believe this is it. And they stay and live on it to reinforce their kind of claim to this area. Again, I'm pretty sure this is it. Yeah, it says Philippines reinforcing. So this is the ship. I don't know why, but the side view looks like totally different ships. Yeah. Either way, it's been grounded because it's in shallow waters, and they are claiming this area. So I don't know if you can visualize kind of what was happening, if the Chinese ships or China, where did they spray them? Did they spray them on this boat, or did they spray them somewhere else close by? I forget that story.
I'm assuming they were spraying another ship that was coming. It was what happens is they bring ships in or boats in
Oh, resupply.
to resupply this and to bring things in, and that's usually the conflict is between the boats coming in.
Yeah, so they yeah. So just to give you a visual there. Blue Boy 1968 Chappie, thank you again. And I believe when I read your comment earlier, I didn't say your name. I don't remember saying it. BNB says, thank you, Dex and Marv, for doing all you do. Thank you, Mods, for doing a great job. Love you and prayers to all. Well, thank you, BNB. Appreciate that. Mimi Karstel from New Zealand, right? Or no, South Africa. That's the South African. Zadar. Anyways, thanks, A&D, Adam and Dex. Crazy world. Let's trust God and do good. Mimi, I agree with that, and have faith that everything is going to work out. And if it doesn't, have the responsible mind to prepare for the stuff if it doesn't. And let's see here. There was a police bang event at Chinese consulate in San Francisco after driver crashes car into building. So you never know if things are really what it seems, but it says a driver who crashed a car into the Chinese consulate building in San Francisco Monday afternoon has been taken out via a weapon. It says, according to the San Francisco Fire Department and the police department, confirmed that an officer was involved in that event. So it was an officer involved bang event. No details were provided on the condition of the individual who was taken out. So he might not actually be perished. He could be alive. But something about this, I have a feeling that in a couple days we'll get somewhat of a update. And it says Gary Boulevard is closed, and drivers are being told to expect traffic delays and consider alternate routes. No other details are available at this time. Dex, do we have a current update? I know it was a changing story.
Yeah, it's currently, he's perished. I guess, we don't really have much other than I think they've got footage, and I gave you a screenshot or a image of a car in a building. It's, it's interesting, but it's not much more than that. But there may be a video on X. If there is, I'll find it and put it on the website. But yeah, the big question I have on this one though is if you're the leadership or you're the in charge over in China and you hear about this happening to your consulate, what are you thinking? Right? Of course, we're all going, what's going on? Was it just a random person deciding to go into a building, or is there purpose here? And what was the motive, and what's really going on behind this? And I think that's there's more to this story potentially, and we'll probably hear it in the coming days.
And this is a screen grab from a video tweeted by @Sergey San, Sergey_San. So this is available over on the website. There's actually more stuff over on our website, so make sure to go over and check out tonight's show. You have a full bibliography plus a whole lot of videos and links to different tweets and things for some of the air raid stuff. Mind you, there are videos that Dex and I were watching live. We were both scrubbing through, and I want to thank Wages World. In fact, I forgot to credit you earlier. Wages World sent a live stream link to where was that? Was that in GAZA or was that in IS? No, it was in the strip.
Yeah, it was in the strip. Well, it was multiple places. There was 4 cameras in different locations, but 2 of them were in the strip.
And they had Dex and I were going through, and there was about a 6-hour time period, and we're scrubbing through this thing, and It is really insane. Did we get screenshots? Do you have screenshots, or do we just have the videos?
I have the videos.
It doesn't matter.
and that link.
They can go
Yeah,
there
you can pull that up.
because we went through and we found all the timestamps that things hit. So that's available to you on the website as well. When you see the videos, you'll know what we're talking about. Throughout this time, there's 4 cameras around the city. And what's crazy to me is some of these, the camera zoomed in before it hit, at least, or was it after? I feel like one of them at least. It's like
One of them was after.
The operator zoomed in before, and then another one, it zoomed into the fire after it hit. But when you see this, you're going to go, whoa. It looked like it was, you know, where they carpet bomb? Like, it looked like it was just somebody that flew over and just dropped the whole line. It looked like the shock and awe back in the day. If you remember, after September of 2001, I remember seeing that on TV. That's what these cameras looked like. And it's massive spreads of this, the strip. I mean, you see, there had to be the where you look at it, there's apartment complexes, all sorts of things. It was just huge swaths of it. And how zoomed out it is, you're thinking this has got to be, I don't know, 7 or 8 city blocks just annihilated. It's very sad. No matter what way you look at, right? Even if you say that the grown-ups, that they're evil, they do this, you do have to realize too that the youngins, or the especially real youngins, they're still innocent. They you know, it's just a bad scenario all the way through. So that's over on the website. You guys can go there and check it out. And a surge in rail traffic on North Korea-Russia border suggests arms supply to Russia, or at least that's what a think tank is saying. Out of South Korea, recent satellite photos show a sharp increase in rail traffic along the NK-Russia border, indicating that the North is supplying munitions to Vlad. It's a speculation about a possible North Korean plan to refill Russia's munition stores drained in its protracted conflict with UKR flared last month when North Korean leader Kim Jong-un traveled to Russia to meet President Vlad and to visit key military sites. Foreign officials suspect Kim is seeking sophisticated Russian weapon technologies in return for the ammunition to boost his nuclear program. Now, one thing that bounces around in our heads is, even if this isn't what it is, and you have to realize Western media is telling us that North Korea is looking for advanced technologies. So if something happens with an advanced technology or an attack or something, Fantastic Freddy style, they already have somebody to pin it to. If there's any weirdness there, right? They're telling us on purpose, and this could stay top secret, right? But instead, they're not. Intelligence in 2 different countries say, oh, we think that they're getting advanced weaponry. Well, why are the thing is that they hold so much from the public. Why do they decide? And the things they do decide to tell us, why? Why do they tell us that? Did we need to know that they're about to get some nasty weapons? Or did the military need to know? The military needed to know. Why did the public? Unless, if you're one whose mind goes to, maybe there's something possibly coming, then that makes you think. And then they can outbid your children. RFK Jr. warns that corporations are trying to buy every single family home in America, and they are on track to own 60% of homes by 2030. Dex, this is alarming if true.
Yeah, very, very alarming. So his quote is, the real reason that housing has outpaced anything else is because there are the 3 giant corporations, Black and Van and State Street. And to quote, as Kennedy said, they're all buying up the properties. He said that these companies already own 88% of the S&P 500, and now they're coming after your single family homes in America. So imagine a world where the corporations own all of our homes and we're just stuck paying rent. That's kind of a crazy thought. And it's, it may seem outlandish, but I bet you have just about everybody here that owns a home or has a friend, has had one of those phone calls, or has known somebody that sold their home because they were made an offer they couldn't refuse or they needed to get out of it. I've seen it all over. I know many people. I know friends that are like, I don't even want to sell to these investors, and investors are coming left and right trying to gobble up the houses. So, we talked a lot about it earlier on when it happened because we knew that they were moving their money into it as a means of protecting their assets. Because the market and volatility and the volatility of the economy, that the best place for them to move it was in housing. But he's saying it's not just those investors; it's these big, big investors that I named earlier that are actually looking to buy it up and buy it all.
Well, think about if they end up then going and reselling it for a bigger price to, say, a country. One thing I think of is BlackRock has just a couple years ago was telling everybody they invested. Dex, can you look up how much that the first company invested in China? It was a giant number, like something crazy. I thought it started with a T, like trill. Um, and these three companies are, or at least two of the three here, B and V here, also these when you look at the ownership of what happened since 2019, the companies that made the solution for that, these companies owned a huge percent. And we know this because they owned more than 5%, so they had declared that they owned a part of it. And you look at the makeup of the companies that did this, and it's like, you realize that these people don't invest in anything that doesn't have a return. These aren't stupid little companies that are investing. These are the biggest companies for a reason. These are monsters. These are absolute monsters. Most of you probably have a retirement plan or something through these people, and you don't even know it, because most people do. Almost every corporation around the country has their stuff and through these groups. It is insane how much power they have. And if you have a wandering mind, then you probably already know. Dex, I think it was.
I can't find the actual number other than that they were being it was the MSCI congressional probe, and they were listing that they managed 9 trillion in assets, but that's their total assets, not just what was in China. But yes, they have known to invest a significant amount of money all around the world. You can go look at pick any major company and go look at the shareholders, and you'll see that it is those two, if not those three, owning the controlling share. And it doesn't mean they own 50%, but when you add it up, they own 20%, 25% of a company. And all the other owners are less than 1 or 2%, then they're the ones in control.
And you know that all of the companies that these places own, so they owned a part of the solution, right? The thing that was the solution to this big stay-at-home thing. You have to also realize they owned all of the companies that were allowed to stay open. Like that's, the Targets, the Fred Meyers, the big chain retail stores, the Walmarts. You look at who owns those, and it's like every step of the way during that, these were making so much money. It was not even funny. And the solution is not a one-time thing. It's not like you do it when you're a kid and it helps you through the rest of your life and it sets your body up for something. It is a literal regular thing that just keeps what is that saying? The gift horse that just keeps giving or something like that. It's like, yeah, it just makes you wonder about the whole thing. And they're heavily involved in this country. I also think back, if you look in history, there were families involved in these ones, the big families, the families that everybody knows about, but they're not really talked about. Those families supported both sides of conflicts. And the reason why is because they didn't care who won or lost. They were the ones supplying all of the stuff for both sides. So either way, they were going to win. They hedged their bets on both sides. They don't care about the peoples. They don't care about morals or values. They care about money. And then man in custody after climbing Ferris wheel at Santa Monica Pier did not actually have a boom boom. So as it played out, and I'm sure there was a lot of people that covered this like on the second, but the guy said he had a boom boom and he was climbed out into and onto the Ferris wheel. Dex, do we have? I had a picture, but it doesn't. I can load the original, but that you had a great picture of him basically sitting on one of the Ferris wheel bars. So he was essentially outside of one of the carts. I don't know what you call those things. The place where people sit on a Ferris wheel, and he was essentially threatening to take everybody out. It said it all started Monday afternoon when Santa Monica police officers received reports that a man scaled the ride and was telling people he had a boom boom. And officers spent several hours clearing out Santa Monica's Pacific Park as they attempted to talk to the man, who said he appeared to be in a crisis. According to a tweet from police, no boom boom or incendiary device was located. So it was quite wild, to say the least. And then another thing happened, and I don't know if this was today, but there was a naked man in a local JCPenney here in Washington. In a JCPenney, this naked black guy was running through the store, and there was about 4 or 5 guys chasing after him. And they said, and he was completely unclothed. He was running through, and they said that he actually came up to little ones and was trying to do something inappropriate. They ended up tackling him. He was a big guy, and he like fought back, but I believe they ended up getting him. At the end of the clip, it shows them kind of winning finally, because he was throwing bows back. But one thing I want to point out is that it seems like people are just going nuts. Now, in the future, we're actually going to do some, we're going to talk about some of the stuff like the Havana syndrome and things like that. There's very weird events going on around the world. There's weird things happening. People just going absolutely nuts. Here's the photos of the man who claimed to have a boom boom and actually scaled a Ferris wheel. You can see him holding on like Winnie the Pooh onto honey. Dex, go ahead.
The interesting, or one of the things that seemed to be interesting as this was unfolding, is there's a lot of tension right now, especially with those of us that are following along with what's going on in the Middle East, that there's potential for something to happen around us here in the States. And when you hear about this consulate car going in San Francisco, at the same time you get this update that this man's on a Ferris wheel claiming to have this, and you're looking at the pictures while he's still up there, and there's a big old backpack on, and you're wondering, I don't know what's in there. Everybody's sort of getting on alert, right? Strange things are happening. Maybe it's not the same thing with the gentleman in the store running around. That's a little different. That's a different kind of strange. But when we think about this notion that there may be some type of action that may happen in our own homeland here, everybody's on edge. And when these stories start popping with very little information, a lot of people start thinking and jump into conclusions on them.
I was going to, this does not show anything, so it's family friendly here. Conveniently placed hand, but this was a scene from this crazy scene that played out. Dex, can we also attach this video for those of you if you do want to see it? It was most definitely interesting to me because it was local, and I've actually been in that exact store. And if my kids were in that store, I don't know if I would have even been as nice as those guys. And I don't know if those were parents or not, but it was most definitely a crazy, crazy scene. It's definitely what folks were talking about on Twitter earlier. All right. And by the way, thank you, mods that are all doing a great job down there. Make sure to drop an M in the chat for the mods right now. Thank you, Kenna Presson, Kristen Bell, Kristen Bell. Thank you. Stealth Mode says, "Wow, crazy." I feel like this is only more stuff is going to happen here. Only more stuff like this is going to happen, and again, lots of crazy things in the world. All right, and Jackie Flowers, thank you. Thank you as well. Juby Joe, T. Neal, thank you. And thank you, everybody that dropped an M in the chat for the mods. RO Ramrings, Mindset, Old Believer, and WIS Gen. All right, we're wrapping up here in just a second. I did want to thank as well. We have Mimi Carcel, thank you. BNB, thank you. Blue Boy 1968, Ray the Way, thank you. I just actually followed you back on Twitter today. I don't know if you saw that. BlackRock and Vanguard combined has 15 trillion in assets. To put that in perspective, BlackRock. So if you take the U.S., then it goes China number 2. BlackRock alone is number 3. So above all other countries, they have more money than the GDP of all other countries other than China and the USA combined. So if you take Japan, South Africa, you take Europe, you take every place, you combine it, they have less money than BlackRock. That's how much power these people have. Money equals power. And that's really insane. $15 trillion. Okay. Dex, let's go over the web only. We've got a lot of crazy stuff. Before you do that, do want to remind you, make sure to go check out Harvest Right. You can get yourself a freeze dryer unit, one of the best out there, at marfooglenews.com/freeze. There's $300 off on the pro model right now. It helps us out, and it will give you, of course, one of the best units to freeze dry food. It's the best way to preserve food, and it will last up to 25 years. You can customize what the food you want in it, and of course, you can choose your dietary restrictions or requirements and prep yourself. It's about a quarter of the price of doing it through a company or getting it done. It is, again, a lot cheaper, but you do have to invest in the machinery to do it. That's marfooglenews.com/freeze. And Dex, let's go over the web only.
So we got a lot going on. And in the crazy video scenario, we also have another interesting thing that's happened, and that is somebody at the memorial in New York for the event that happened in September decided to I don't know if he jumped or scaled down, but he went down into the pool and literally was wading through the pool. Now it turned out, I believe he was a family of someone that had lost there. It wasn't like a nefarious thing. It was more of a strange action. So you can watch that video if you want to see it. It's on our website along with the other incident that happened in JCPenney, which is not embeddable. So you have to look for it because of the content. You can't actually embed that. So you won't be able to see it on the website. You have to click through. But we do have additional updates. So what I'm talking about, for those of you that are new, it's everything else that's on our website. So go to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, or open up the show notes link down below in the description. It'll take you right here to this page where all of the links and sources and everything we were talking about you can find. The orange bar is overflow. You'll recognize the Rezvani tank giveaway that is there. So if you want to enter, make sure you click on that link and go through the process. Your chance to win that. But everything else on here is sort of the extra content that we put together, the extra bits of information that we think are important, and we find it for you and we put it here for you every day. Things like the additional stuff that's going on within the ME, some of the additional things that are being said, and some of the really nastiness that's going on, such as what they're doing to some of the people that they've captured, whether they're alive or not, and that they've been doing to them. That's being, I guess, broadcasted now as part of a change in what they're doing from a, I guess, an attention point of view, maybe even a negotiation point of view. So that's all covered. There's a whole lot of additional things, including some of the stuff about the additional things on the $6 billion payment or release of funds and what the president has been saying about that. There's a lot of people that are upset about the barbecue that was going on at the president's house there, White House specifically. And everybody's like, why were you doing that while this event was going down? So a lot of pushback on that happening as well. So if you're looking for that political stuff, it's all there. The news cycle, though, is very heavily focused on what's going on in the Middle East, which is understandable. So if you're looking for the rest of the story, head over to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, or open up that show notes link down below in the description.
All right, thank you, Dex. And obviously, look at Jennifer Griffin saying their goal is to draw the U.S. into a broader conflict. Senior intelligence source tells me. Do you think you think that intelligence source is right? Sure seems like it. All right, well, thank you, everybody, and thank your mods. Thank you again. Thank you, Tyjas NZ, James Garcia, everybody. Thank you, guys. Love you. Of course, be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. Remember, guys, if somebody is kicking the cat, tell them they might be having something bad go on in their life and they take it out on other people. Look up Don't Kick the Cat. Great story. Something that stuck with me for the rest of my life. You start to realize that people usually have something going on in their own life, and it just comes out in aggression towards the next person, and then the next person, the next person. All right, let's make a fresh one. It's a Zig Ziglar story. I listened to it when I was like 12 on an audio tape that my uncle gave me. It was, you guys, who knows about the Zig Ziglar Kick the Cat? All right, let's, make a fresh one. Boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. I see the Markham Sparrows, Carol, Don, Kick the Cat, and the Louis Strong Arm, DFW, Jack E, XDR, and a Nickelback E, bum, 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 bum. Matey cleans a lot and the way who's slamming no screen door. Hello, I am here for more. Baron Saturday, every Sunday, Marvin fun time, having such a fun day. Bum bum dee dee dum dum dee dee bum bum dee dee bum bum dee dee. Bum bum DVD, 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 bum bum. All right, let's make one. Julie Pilkerton.
Julie Pilkerton, Julie Pilkerton.
Julie Pilkerton, Julie Pilkerton, Julie